Hey, everybody, and welcome to Bedard's Unofficial Podcast. Today, we're going to take a little different trend, a little different uh, voyage, and talk about Victor Hugo's Hernani, uh, a play that I first translated and adapted back in 1978 that we are now republishing on Amazon. So, what's Hernani about? It's a five-act play that first premiered on the 25th of February, 1830, written by Victor Hugo. Hugo, of course, you may know from Les Miserables and The Hunchback of Notre-Dame. But before that, it's important to note that Hugo was a very, very prolific writer throughout the majority of the 19th century. Where Hernani is very important is on the 25th of February. There's took place La Bataille d'Hernani, the Battle of Hernani. And in this one, it was truly a battle between one group who called themselves the Romantics, fronted by Victor Hugo and others, who were trying to overthrow the classicists, the real classic French theater of Racine and Corneille. So historically, Hernani is very, very important from that perspective. The play remained popular throughout the 19th century, and it was actually a star vehicle for strong leading women because of the dearth of women players in the play. There's really Dona Sol. We'll talk about that. But anyway, Sarah Bernhardt played Dona Sol in the late 19th century, and it also was the inspiration for opera. The play itself is very lyrical, operatic in a sense, a lot of alliteration. And Verdi wrote Hernani without the H, which has remained a very popular opera to this day that's played and put on by many major groups. So my viewpoint really started in 1978. And I had come back from France, a year in France, to UC San Diego. I essentially stole my father's Sears typewriter, did about 7 drafts of the play, used tremendous amount of nicotine and caffeine, and through all of the above. And I give you a snippet up there of the end of the play. Spoiler alert. But typed out and really produced the first play back then in 1978, 1979. Now, if you were looking at El Nani as a movie, you'd have to come up with a log line. And I came up with 2 log lines. I'm sure everybody's got their viewpoints on it, but really, it's an outlaw, a royal nepo, and an old man meet up for a triple suicide. It's tremendously depressing as a play if you look at it from that angle. But I think Hugo meant it to be that way. He meant it to be over the top. And truly, it features a lot of over the top rhetoric and at the end, an over the top finale. Another way to look at it is a 16th century terrorist, the future Holy Roman Emperor, and an old man compete seemingly for Dona Sol's love. This is probably a more positive spin to it and really focuses on the love or lack thereof between Dona Sol and each of the main characters. And who are the players? Well, first we have Hernani, the outlaw. This takes place in Spain, of course. And Hernani is, lives in the hills, lives off the land, friend of the peasant, truly a Robin Hood type character. Then we have Don Carlos, who at the beginning of the play becomes a king of Spain due to his grandfather's death. But being king in Spain is only one little stepping stone to him being Holy Roman Emperor. And in the 16th century, the Holy Roman Empire mattered. not so much after the Napoleonic Wars, but this is the framework, and Don Carlos is actually Charles V. Don Ruy Gomez, an old man who's really betrothed to his niece. He's by hook or crook or Spanish lore and what you need to do in Spain. He is betrothed to his niece, Dona Sol, who's the only woman protagonist in the cast of consequence. But the play revolves around everybody's relationship with Dona Sol. What are the themes? Well, first off, there's tremendous generational conflict. The difference in age is completely uh, amplified as much as possible. Don Ruy Gomez is the old man, and I'm sure he's played as decrepit as you can make him and as creepy as you can make him. Codes. It's also a lot about codes. Don Ruy Gomez does a deal with Hernani, and it trumps Hernani's deal with Carlos. And I'm not going to, ruin it for you, but basically it comes down to which of my oaths do I hold to. And Hernani's code, the bandit code, however you want to call it, uh, Don Carlos's code as a king, a ruler, someone who has to step up to duty, plays a big, big factor. And, doing your duty. Carlos knights Hernani, and Hernani goes mainstream at the end. And Carlos gives up his interest in Dona Sol. So Carlos does the right thing politically on both counts. And he realizes that Dona Sol, however much in love he might be with her, it can just never be because of his station in life. And finally, love above all. And then he honors his deal with Don Ruy Gomez, as I says, and he gives up his interest in Dona Sol. Why? It's his code, and his code encompasses love itself. Hernani follows through on his promise to Don Ruy Gomez and essentially lets Dona Sol to the wind. So finally, in brief on the politics and history, a big question throughout the play, which of course we know the answer to, is will Carlos get elected? Becoming Holy Roman Emperor, very important. Some of the scenes take place in Charlemagne's tomb. We have a lot of the players who, in fact, Don Ruy Gomez and Carlos give soliloquies in Charlemagne's tomb, in front of their ancestors. And Hugo lectures us with history. And I could only surmise that in 1830, it was extremely and much more relevant, of course, than today, because many of the things that he refers to in his speeches and in his script can only be referring to happenings going on today. So how did the 16th century reflect 1830 France? And that's really a big piece of it. What correlations can we find between 1830 France and the 16th century that Hugo lays out for us? Granted that this 16th century viewpoint, or his viewpoint of the 16th century, is just as fantastic as his viewpoint of early Paris in The Hunchback of Notre-Dame. Interesting point. The Hunchback of Notre-Dame actually was responsible for the first big renovations of the cathedral. It made it a very, very popular tourist attraction in the 19th century. So a little factoid. So with that, thank you very much. And I really appreciate this opportunity. I first did this play back in 1978. always have loved it. I'm coming out with a printed copy on Amazon, direct from Amazon, after selling a whole bunch of Kindle versions of the book. My aim is to allow people to study this play and to better understand it. I am not it was translated and adapted, not translated in perfect French. After all, je suis Québécois, and we do what we do. Thank you very much and have a great day.